This is my phone. It is the most practical device I own. But if I'm not mindful, it has the power to steal the day and the experiences within. This watch is one of my favorite devices of all time, but yet it enables every friend chat group, weather alert, and calendar reminder to cut through the moments I'm basking in if I'm not careful. Notifications are like this constant background noise that never goes away. So I was reading this study that said after you're distracted, it takes 23 minutes to be able to refocus. Frankly, with all the way these things buzz in our pockets and hand out dopamine hits every minute, it's a miracle we get anything done at all. That's why I've taken an approach to minimize the interruption as much as possible. Here are 5 ways I bring peace and structure to my digital life. Hack number 1, get the right apps. In an ideal world, I would only have one to-do list app, but by having a method to my madness, I am able to bring order to the chaos through a couple of different apps. For my hobbies, like this YouTube channel, I use Things. I find Things to have the best interface, and it really excels when you need to organize tasks to get things done. I can have areas for work and personal, and within each have different projects where I can visually see my progress. What I love about Things is that it's extremely simple and intuitive to use, and the design is very clean. For personal to-dos, I use Apple Reminders. For weekend packing lists, groceries, movies to watch, Apple offers a clean and simple way to organize the basics. The integration with other Apple products and Siri is seamless. For my second brain, I use the stock Apple Notes app. Whether it's home or vehicle maintenance or garden notes, this all lives there. Favorite quotes, health tips, names of people I meet. This app is my go-to with everything being a super quick search away. Now, hot tip number 1. When I need to scan a document, I also use the Notes app. I tap the camera icon in a new note, tap Scan Document, and the rest is easy from there to capture multiple clean pages, which I can leave attached to the note, share, or later annotate by scribbling with my finger or using an Apple Pencil on an iPad. When I do deep work, I like listening to things without words, and for that reason, I use the Calm app, which has a great selection of white noises. I tend to be a sucker for a good thunderstorm or the sound of a wood fire while in hustle mode. This is all free without a plan, and it also has great meditations and sleep functions if you are interested in that as well. If, however, you want to reach digital minimalist level 12, skip downloading yet another app and check out something like Lo-Fi Girl on YouTube. The account has nearly 14 million followers and has plenty of chill beats to power through those TPS reports. For on and offline shopping, I use Apple Pay, which is associated to my credit cards. More often than not, I can now go buy something without using physical credit cards where I shop or get gas, and I just whip up Apple Pay, confirm with a fingerprint or Face ID, and mission complete. Not only is it quicker, but it is also safer than using physical cards. Now, if Wisconsin were to begin using digital IDs, such as a driver license, I could basically get rid of having to carry a wallet, and we're pretty close to not needing keys as well. Praise! In the Home app, I have automation set up to shut my garage door every night at 8 p.m. if it isn't closed already. I also have shortcuts that allow me to turn on the scene of lights you see in this very office with a single Siri command. While not in the Home app, I also use Ecobee for my thermostat to automatically control my heating and air conditioning at all times without my interaction. With the Clock app, I have all the alarm and timer needs one could ask for, and with iOS 17 and a magnetic charging stand, it essentially becomes the bedroom clock that turns its screen off automatically when it's nighty-night time, and there's simply no need to ever own a separate alarm clock again the rest of my life. Hack number 2, you can't get new apps to improve your life before you get rid of the clutter that is taking up space. There are 2 ways to do this. The first being the forget about it approach, and the second being go nuclear. For the first approach, I try to keep only 2 pages of apps I frequent the most. Page 1 is stuff I'll usually use every day, and page 2 is other things I want close at hand. I try to strike a balance of not using too many folders, as folders only allow more clutter. Everything else I simply let Apple assemble into the app library, which is the next default screen as you swipe past your last page of apps. So UPS, Amazon, some games, those can all live in the back storage unit. If, however, I need to get to something fast when the time comes, I simply swipe down on the home screen and do a quick search, which is usually much faster than swiping past pages of apps in the first place. Now, the next option of going nuclear is my favorite. Here's an example. I have apps like Pocket for collecting articles or Nextdoor for neighborhood updates. These days, I use these apps pretty infrequently, and they all come with their own baggage. Beyond the core app notifications and countless emails, you have the surveys.
Brandon, do you have time to provide us some quick feedback?
Or the
please review our updated privacy policy.
See what's new with our app.
multiply this times 100 for the apps and services I hardly use, and you can quickly see why I never could win the war on digital clutter. Then the corresponding browser bookmarks for these sites, the possible data leaks, the eventual account management update I need to complete on my profile. Hey, is the picture setting in? Does this all seem too familiar? I think we take it for granted and we just assume this is part of an everyday normal life. Here's the action step. If the thing is not essential in my life, I delete the account or at least unsubscribe from the emails. Then I delete the app. If it is not a total clean sweep, it's probably not enough. You need a complete wipe. Hack number 3 is hardware. I bashed my Apple Watch earlier because of the extra noise it can add, but it goes the other way as well, especially if you do it right. First off, because the experience of scrolling and using various apps on the Apple Watch is less than ideal, I simply don't do it. Therefore, if I have a cellular connection on my watch, I can be out and about and feel connected, but I don't have to worry about finding myself reading the news on an inch-wide screen. For the watch, I also ensure that I turn off any notifications that are not important. Costco deals, new available podcasts, that can stay on my phone. Just give me calendar alerts or a notification if someone is trying to get a hold of me. With the ability to connect to my AirPods, be my wallet for purchases on the go, I can be unleashed and free from all of my main devices. On the flip side for hardware, it's also about not having the wrong hardware. For example, we first bought our kids Amazon Fire tablets as a cheap way to have some games to play. Little did I know there'd be so much mental friction of managing apps outside our Apple ecosystem. It's another app store to learn, more accounts, we couldn't share apps or data among ourselves in the same way, multiplayer with us parents was a letdown, and on and on. Once we were able to hand out our older iPads to our kids, life became much easier. This is also true if, let's say, you own a Windows laptop but use an iPhone. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is there going to be a certain amount of friction being in multiple systems? Yes, no doubt. Frankly, there was a time I had to ditch my interest in different platforms because the peace and simplicity of a streamlined setup of apps, hardware, and cloud synchronization was just far too valuable. Hack number 4 is about filling in the gaps on other practices to keep things minimal. Clutter on your phone is not only a drain on your phone, but a mental drain as well. For photos, after every major trip, or at least once a month, I will go through and remove duplicates or shots from the last 30 days that I will never care to see again. Not only has this saved me hundreds of gigabytes of storage over the years, but it ensures that I can be efficient and precise when I want to find old memories at any point in the future. I also liken this to keeping my desktop distraction-free as well. If I have more than one column of icons huddling on the side of the screen, it is probably time to clean up. Personally, I get into a rhythm of cleaning this and my downloads folder also about once a month. For anything that I think I will need later or needs a better way to be organized at a later time, I will drag those files into a folder I have called Save. This is essentially an inbox for processing things later that keeps my desktop clean. For things like notifications and emails, I've already talked earlier about ways to delete unused accounts and apps and go nuclear, but for all the stragglers, there is still more work to be done. When I have downtime, I look at all the notifications on my iPhone. Are there any I've never read or clicked into in the past month, but I still want the app? All right, I just turn those notifications off. For email, Inbox Zero is a good model to live by, and there's plenty to say about that. But for newsletters, I try to delete at least one a month. Let's say I get a newsletter from a local car dealer where I get oil changes and buy a vehicle every 7.5 years. I'll sort by that sender, look at the last dozen emails, and have I read any? Have any brought me value? If not, unsubscribe. The result, it's one less notification every few days and less inbox junk to clear out. You may be thinking, this is too extreme and I have a solution for that as well. I get emails from the brand Anchor, love them. I like their chargers and battery packs, but I'm only purchasing something once or twice a year. What I've done is create an inbox rule that says anytime a new email comes in from Anchor to automatically mark it as read. This way, if there's ever a point where I want to search those emails for promotion when I'm ready to buy something, I'm sort of still in the club and have access to the coupon codes or whatever, but I can skip the non-stop weekly sales tactics, which also probably helps slow down more impulse buys, which is just better for minimalism in general. You would think there isn't much more to say on email hacks, but you'd be mistaken. One last mega strategy I employ is the use of a burner email account. If I want to sign up for something, but I don't have a huge commitment, or I'm afraid my email has a chance of being spread to third parties for more spam, I will use the Hide My Email feature from Apple when filling out a form. This way, I keep my real email address secret, and Apple will generate a totally random email address that will forward all messages to my real account. If I ever find there is a problem with that fake email account that I cannot get out of, I just delete the account. It's that easy. And it adds a touch of extra privacy. Hack number 5 is don't trust yourself, punish yourself. If I need a more forceful hand, there is also a setting in the Apple settings called screen time. With screen time, I can limit my social apps to 30 minutes a day if I can't stop scrolling. For maximum happiness, I've learned you gotta get comfortable missing out on the things in life, whether the news or social updates. As a side note, this feature is great for putting limits on your kids' devices. Lastly is focus modes. When I make these videos, for example, I enable a do not disturb mode, which syncs to all my Apple products so I don't get alerts, sounds, or notifications while I'm filming myself or other B-roll shots of my devices. It is also great while you are asleep. Unfortunately, there are ways to still get emergency phone calls or texts from specific people if desired. If, for example, I want to better separate work and life, I can also do things such as have different home screens and apps that show up based on the time of day. So if I want my work email and Slack to disappear after I log off for the day, I can do that. Now, I personally don't, but the powers are there if that inspires a needed change in your life. It has been fun putting some of these ideas together for you on digital minimalism. Hit the like button and/or subscribe if you thought this video was valuable. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.